about.
Whatever magic happens.
We're just gonna wing it, you know?
Yeah, man.
We're gonna wing it.
Wing it like a F-14.
Chat wings, you know?
Yeah, it's like kind of the day.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want me to like just burn through these questions? Like
Well,
we're just kind of go down the line.
However you want to run it, dude. I am more than happy to oblige.
All right. So okay. Your name, handle, age, location, veteran, former service. We'll just start. They're just getting basic info out of the way. Whatever you want to share.
Does that remind you of early days of Yahoo Chat with like
ASL?
like ASL?
Yeah.
It's very age like that. Just showing my age.
Or AOL chat.
Oh, I never did. My one was
Dial-up?
Yahoo Chat, and that would have been like 98, 99, 2000, sort of.
Yeah. Oh, I
remember.
Yeah. No, that was the progression. That was Yahoo chat.
Yeah.
Shit. Or
I remember the first time someone said ASL to me, and I thought, "The fuck is ASL?" And I was just like, "Is that like short for asshole?" Fuck you. That's what I thought.
Fuck you. Like, okay, back at you.
Why is everyone calling me an asshole? All right, I must be getting this wrong.
Yeah. All right, ASL, man. What's going on?
Yeah. It was the big question of the day. So okay, my name handle. Well, I'm just Lou. Well,
Lou.
That's
Lou. You're just good with Lou.
Yeah, man.
Good. I'm good with Bob. That's it. I'm good with. So.
Bob and Lou. Age. Yeah, I have just begun my adventure into the 40s. It's really exciting. You find that your body starts falling apart. It's wonderful. It's very fun.
I hate to give this info away. I'm at the tail end of 35. Does it get worse? Fuck.
Well, I don't know.
35 kicked my ass, dude. It hit different, man.
It does. Shit just starts not like the hand-eye coordination starts not being what it used to be. And it's like,
all right,
bloody, like, where did I, the whole where did I put my keys just becomes a daily thing. There's always one thing, one item you don't know where the hell you've put it. Yeah. It's always,
It was right here, and yeah.
So in the 40s, so I live in Tauranga, which is a smaller city, definitely not the main city, smaller city in New Zealand, down the bottom end of the planet.
Got it. Yeah.
Ass end of nowhere. Veteran, former service? No.
Okay.
Complete civilian, but obviously massive. Ever since a kid, ever since primary school, which is our, I guess, the American
elementary
school would be elementary school.
Yeah.
Just a massive obsession with like World War II, and just
good company.
It's always just a massive following of history, following of conflicts, just sort of seeing, learning how everything works, and over the years. So that's what I got for you, my friend.
Okay. We'll start with the channel name then, and we're just gonna work down this list then. The War at Home. Is there a backstory to the War at Home, or is there's something more?
So as much as I would have loved it if I'd had what's his bloody name? There's another thing you'll find in your 40s. You go blank a lot. What's his name? That TV. The TV show, The War at Home. It was American TV, American sitcom.
It was, yes, yeah.
Michael Rappaport. That's what I was thinking.
If you try and YouTube your channel in the States,
you're just gonna get
that. And it's like,
I know.
I know it exists. This is exactly how it's spelled, and you have to put a whole bunch of like World War III, something else, and like it finally like, are you sure it's this? It's like, yes.
I did myself no favors with this. but okay, so the story behind it is when I first started coming up with it, it was completely a New Zealand story. There was no foreign, there was no American forces that we saw. There was no Australian forces that we saw.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, well, this is the war at home, because we're at home. This is my home.
Yeah.
It's where the war is. So the war at home. And yeah, so, but I mean, we're talking 2014 when I first.
Yeah. You've been doing this for a little bit, and I hats off to you, man. That's
either kudos or, dude, you really must suck at this.
no, that's kudos. That's like I can appreciate that.
I can accept both.
Positive things your way, man. I'm not here to talk.
Oh no, yeah. That's the thing about Kiwis, is we have a very self-depreciating sense of humor. But that would be the backstory. And the name's just I've never changed it, because I thought, well, the worst thing you can do is if you've got.
I should have wore your shirt. That would have probably really confused him, because it'd have been like,
what I should have done is, instead of this, I should have worn mine, and we could have both been self-repping. That would have been awesome.
Next time we'll confuse them. I'll get you one of my shirts.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
love one of those.
Who's I'll have to work.
Like, who's who? Do the Spider-Man thing where it's like,
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that'd be really the story of the name.
Just do this. Okay. That's fair. Well, what's your if you don't mind sharing, like, what's your background, day job, and have you had any video production?
Yeah. So, what I do for a day job, well, I mean, it's pretty casual, but I do freelance video editing. So for companies might want to make a staff training video, or they might want to do a motion video online or social media. I do, obviously, animation. So I do the VFX and pretty much, anything with After Effects. Just sort of explainer videos for companies, things like that. So yeah, I just freelance that. I've been doing video production pretty much since forever. Like, I've just always done it. It's always been that whole medium of being able to create. How wanting to create stuff in whatever medium you can. So if it was like trying to do actual filmmaking when I left high school, and then that morphed into, well, why not try and do that on a computer? So taught myself how to animate and how to do editing on early copies of Premiere, like in the 90s. And so always been doing like production.
Gotcha.
I just like the concept of being able to imagine something in your brain and then just create it somehow.
Yeah.
That's
no stranger to that, then. All right.
No, definitely not.
Oh, well, okay. Good. Next, we'll go on to the next question that covers that. So what's your inspiration to create the content centered around Cold War? Like, what?
So I came across. So first off, you've got Tom Clancy novels, which I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not so much into the techno thrillers. But I love the whole concept of taking history and messing a little with it, make something else happen.
Yeah.
That is, in my mind, the coolest thing you can do, because you can have all these pivotal, famous historical characters in brand new situations, and I guess sort of see how people think they would have reacted to them. So there's that. There's also another author called Harry Turtledove that I listened to a lot of his audiobooks, where he's done the same thing, and it's really cool. So on that, with that and sort of floating around the back of my brain, I then came across, and you'll probably remember this game, World in Conflict. It was a Sierra game that came out in the early 2000s. And it was so cool. I just thought it was the coolest damn game ever. And not so much from the gameplay, but just the story and the premise was just. I know it borrowed heavily from these books, like Red Dawn, and movies like Red Dawn, and also books from Red Storm Rising. But just seeing it put down visually in a like in a sort of a
in like a
pseudo CG sort of
cinematic way in a lot of the cut stuff. Yeah,
and it was just I just thought it was so freaking cool, and that was like the catalyst for me. I was like, right, that's what I want to do. I want to do a Cold War, but instead of it being either an American continental US or Europe,
or the well covered European conflict, something like that.
Try and put it spin it on its head a little bit, and what if like
bring it home?
Make it the war at home. But yeah, so having this sort of this US like the remnant of the Pacific Fleet is what the Soviets want as a knockout blow. They don't quite get it because you have this remnant that escapes south, and so they pursue them, because if they let them go, then they can regroup, turn around, and come and stab them. You get them in the flanks. And so I thought, well, that would be really cool, because then you could bring them right down to Aussie and New Zealand, and then you get it, It's just so that would be so the World of Conflict would have been the catalyst, but the big inspiration is just a combination of all those sort of Cold War literature, Tom Clancy and John Milnius and things like that. Is it Milnius or Milius? Milnius.
I couldn't tell you. First, I mean, I'm sure he's out there. I'm sure he's popular. You can look it up.
I am going to. Milius. Milius. It's not Milnius. It's Milius. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't think. Well, I'm not going to say that. All right. So
never say never.
Yeah, never. Somebody will. In the shadow of it.
Actually, what was really cool is I got contacted by Alex Aronson, who is, if you've heard of the author James Razone and Randy Watson, they do the American, they do the World War III novels and the Monroe Doctrine novels, which is a massive sort of, war novels. But then there's another guy called Alex Aronson who works alongside him. And he does this novel series called Soviet Endgame. Okay. And someone sent him a link to my videos, and he commented on it, and I was like, that's very cool. Like, I was quite excited. So again, never say never.
Yes. It's John yesterday had some crazy stories like that it was just like,
he would, because he's, if I'm not wrong, I think he's been an author. He's authored books, hasn't he?
I'm not going to give too much away because that's a whole other video, and I don't, I'm not going to whatever. But I think he says he's like published
spoiler
and book.
Spoiler.
So
I don't want to.
This is reported on the date after. Yes.
Yeah.
So this, like, contextually, we're just gonna like throw this out there, but like portraying such sensitive subject matters, how do you approach maintaining respect and authenticity? And this is kind of going with, like, in regards to kind of what's going on in Ukraine, and it's like we're apples and oranges. It's not quite the same, but it's a little bit of the same. So does that question do anything for you? If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Because the funny thing is that when I started this, Crimea was still Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Like, that's hell. Yeah. So, and even after Crimea got annexed, from us in the Western world, I mean, we're nowhere. It just didn't feel like it was something that was happening, and it's like, it's that shield that the Western world often has, especially the civilians of the Western world. That shield that we have of, like, well, it's just something on television. It's not right in front of me, And I hate that, but I'm just as guilty as anyone else of falling victim to it. And so even going forward, like for the first few episodes, right up until 2022, it just felt like I was telling a fictional tale, and then it feels suddenly real after 2022, February 2022. Suddenly it feels like, wow, this is actually and so I actually have made alterations to the script, because of course it's an ever evolving thing for me.
Sure.
I'm always, make being a one man band has its advantages of you can change stuff on the fly if you want to. So I've made quite a few alterations to the story, and in fact, there is a point where I'm gonna make sure that there is a distinction between the fact that you have the Soviet forces. Inside that, of course, you have Ukrainians, Georgians,
Yeah.
Kazakhstan. How do you say Kazakhs? You have these other
Kazakhs?
nationalities.
Sure.
Yeah, you have these other nationalities that are, well, they're pretty much subjugated to Russia.
Yeah.
And so I want to certainly make that distinction. There's going to be a scene coming up in the first season that I'm doing where we're going to see, well, I don't want to give too much away, but we are going to make sure we see that distinction because certainly what we're seeing in the world today in regards to Ukraine is just, you can trace it back to the Soviet Union.
Oh, absolutely.
To quite easily. And so we're seeing like residual sort of what would you call it? Residual
It's like
I just have like one of the spinning wheels that goes over my face.
we can blame it on the 40s. We can blame it on the 40s. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think this is what's left of that. This is what's
a residual consequence of the Soviet
consequence. Yes.
Yes. Consequence is the word or something. Yeah. So certainly in regards to what is going on in the world, I want to absolutely make damn certain that there, full respect is given to, people of Ukraine and what they, went through and being under the Soviet Union, but also now fighting Russia. So
yeah. That's okay. What you just kind of bring or had brought to light there is a little bit good. A little bit good. Yeah, I speak English. Sure. That's it. That's a good segue into this next question. So I mean, it's all you, and it's all it's all coming from your mind, and you're bringing it to screen in one way or So what if I asked you to walk me through that creative process, or like where do you start, and how does it go from a thought to
well, because one advantage to it being so glacially slow is that you have lots of time to think of how the next episodes are going to progress. There's always been a sort of concrete storyline in place, overarching storyline, which I put together way back, as I say, in 2014. And that's always been the same, this overarching sort of premise of how, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's sort of just writing in the sense of the sort of incidental things that happen. But it might be a case of I see something on a movie or a TV show that I think's cool, but that might give me an idea of something I could do with what's happening in my story, and then I'll write down that idea because I might not be at the point where I'm writing that particular episode yet. And I'll always keep a note of an idea. Or I tell you what, another one. This might sound a bit weird, but I come up with a lot of ideas for the show actually when I'm just having a shower. It's just I got nothing else to do except think.
Yeah.
So I'll just be thinking. I'll be like,
it's a series of shower thoughts. Then okay.
It is, yeah, a lot of it is. It's like I'm just standing there cleaning, and I'm like, cool if I did that. wonderful. What happened if that happened? Oh. And so just get a lot.
No, I
Like,
get it.
like I got to write this down.
Yeah. Mine usually happens on my commute to work because I'm just doing nothing else but driving. My music might have something, and you're just like, hold on, like, I could do that. I could do that. Like, I need to write this down. Like, oh, that's not happening.
But it's exactly the same thing. You're captive to your situation. You don't.
Yes.
You're literally just a passenger because you're on your commute to work, whereas
Yep.
if you're having a shower, all you're doing is cleaning. But you're in a space for a certain amount of time, and you can't.
Clear,
and you're just sort of a captive to
clear
your
the
surroundings
cache.
for
Yeah.
and so you just start. Your brain just takes over, and you start thinking of things. It's like sitting on the toilet.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Right. So you must have like a notebook or something that you're like, okay, let me just jot down a note. Let me just jot down a thing. Or is it just like you might have a sticky pad that time and you might have a notepad this time? Or
I don't. As I said, I'm a highly disorganized person. So if I had a notepad or a sticky pad, that'd just be
it would be
around
in a pile,
under the
in a folder,
couch, behind a cushion. Yeah, it would be pointless. Well, I mean, mostly just as best I can, it stays up here, and then I'll just get to the type it in.
Yep. Okay.
One thing I find I don't forget, and maybe this is why I'm so terrible outside of the show, is I don't forget anything I'll think of with the show. Maybe that's what's occupying the.
I mean, that's what's piquing your interest.
I've only got 600 megabytes up here.
Yeah.
It's full. Maybe that's why it's so bad.
It sometimes that's just kind of what keeps you going, especially when there's like an interest or there's a drive or there's like oh, that's a really good idea. I don't want to do anything else. I'm like, no, I got to get this done. I got to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah.
So okay, you happen to mention a game, but out of curiosity, are you a gamer? Do you have the time? Do you have the?
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't have the time. I want to be because there's so many. There's like I can just see games where I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool. I'd lose. I
could sink a month into that.
Week.
Yeah.
I could sink weeks into that.
Yeah.
But it's like if I do that, then nothing's gonna get
done.
I can't. It sounds like there's a lot of games I really would love to jump into. Ones that I will give myself maybe a couple of days on is games that are sort of open ended, like City Skylines.
Sure.
I enjoy.
Sure.
I find it quite therapeutic just building little cities and things. So
yeah,
that or I think of there's like a couple of medieval games where you just build a castle. It's like going medieval, maybe. But yeah, just games like that that are open ended that don't require you to have to come back if you don't want to.
Right. You don't have to grind on anything. You don't have to keep going.
No, exactly.
Just turn it on, enjoy it, clear your mind. Yeah,
absolutely.
Fair enough. Now I was curious, and now I know.
Yeah, no, I wish honestly, I would love to get into DCS. It looks so cool. Like back in the day, man, I had joystick and thrust control. Oh man, flight simulators are cool. But yeah.
Oh, if you ever get the time, or like if that bridge ever gets crossed, I will.
Well, I need all that advice. Thanks, dude. I really do appreciate that. But what I need is that remote from that Adam Sandler movie, switch or stick. I pause time, then I can do it.
No, this is
yeah.
Well, all right, we'll move on to this next question then.
Mm-hmm.
Click pause. No. If you had to, this is. We're just gonna clear our minds here. If you had to delete all of your videos, start fresh, would you make any changes to the content or like say it was like can you hit the reset button? If you did, what would you change?
There would be little. I mean, the general story would probably stay the same. There would be lots of little differences, like just I guess the dialogue would be different. Probably No, it would just be different, maybe different character, like the models and the look, or things like that, or the way I've might have set something up. Like the first episode, I want to go back and redo just because since
Yeah.
I did it, the character models changed on some of the characters, and it's just like I think if someone watches it, they'll be like, "Who the hell are these people?" Like they get to episode two, and it's
Right.
like
And then,
that guy looks different now.
all right. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So yeah, just little things really. As I say, the main overarching story would be the same,
But,
it would just be doing things differently that would make life easier and just make it look better and
but
dialogue.
more or less stuff that you're more critical of maybe than a lot of your.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
wouldn't.
Stuff you look back on and you think, yeah, do that differently now.
Sometimes I'm like, man, I should have done a cooking show. I don't know. I like we just like clear everything out and all of a sudden fix it. It's just gonna be like me making pizza or something, you know?
I honestly do. You can. I mean, you've got a storyline that's already sort of there, but I mean, your creativity shines in the like with what you can be creative about, which is like the visuals,
Oh,
and they're
sure.
amazing. Don't ever change the visuals; they are
Yeah.
so good.
Good. Good. Uh, thank you. Yeah. So what?
I enjoy
For
blowing
what you
smoke
do, I
up
mean,
people's bums.
we're like the same but different, you know, because
Mm,
what you do
yeah,
is it's all you. What I do, I have something that's existing and I have something else that's existing, and I just have to make them line up and work. So
yeah.
for you, I mean, this might what's the most challenging aspect of this? Like,
It would be the research into like, for example, right now I'm doing a scene with the Prime Minister of New Zealand and his cabinet. Now, his
okay,
cabinet, who was in his cabinet in 1989? What did they look like? Where
yeah,
can I find photos of them? Did and you find photos of these people, and it's like, did they have the glasses in that year though? I see them with glasses this year, but
you
I
go
don't know
into
if
that.
they had.
Okay, okay,
So it's things like that. It's getting stuff right, and a big one actually was the scene I just did with the aircraft carrier bridge on the Carl Vinson, and it's just making sure that things, yeah, like finding out what the labels were saying on the controls, like I can
ooh,
see.
yeah,
I'm trying to get all the like, I'm trying to get lots of stock images of inside an aircraft carrier bridge, and it's like I can see, there might be a photo where you see half of a panel label and like, oh, what does the rest of it say? And then you'll have to go through heaps and heaps, looking at like Getty's images or things like that,
right. Because I
just
mean,
so
you have
you
to do
can,
all of those textures, and you have to do all of that
yeah,
as far. Yeah. Oh God.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just can't stand it if I've just like done a whole lot of gibberish on a panel, and I know that you might not be able to see it, but I know it's gibberish.
Right.
It
It might not
grates me.
like you might not even pan over that panel. You just know it
No,
exists, and you
no,
know
but
it's.
I know it's there, and it's going to bug me.
That's
And just think,
dedication. That's what
yeah,
that is. That is dedication.
I go down some ridiculous rabbit holes to just find out things
Well,
about, and
well,
also about buildings, like build when I'm doing city shots, like was that building there in 1989?
I mean,
What color was
that
it?
cityscape
Like
was.
the Auckland one took, yeah, that took months, but yeah, and I mean that's like so many times, like it's sort of like city block by city block, and it's like you know, some blocks might have had a road that went through it that wasn't there later
Sure.
on or got removed. And it's like
Sure.
I've got to I just can't help myself. I've got to make sure that it's on
Yeah,
point as much as I can
I
do it.
appreciate that. I'll just put it right there. I appreciate somebody that is that dedicated to that, or
Oh,
maybe
thanks. Yeah,
retentive, but definitely dedicated. So
very. Yeah, a lot of people would look at me and go, "That's just stupid." But one thing I've never been able to stand, and this is even as a kid, was watching a movie. Like for example, they do this on Independence Day, and it pisses me off. It shouldn't piss me off, but it does. In the scene at the very beginning where you see the naval guys in the submarine, this guy sounds so anal. The naval guys in the submarine at the beginning of Independence Day, where the aliens first start appearing, right? And there's two naval officers in the submarine. The badges on their collars are too large. They're the badges that should be on the shoulders. The Navy has sort of miniaturized rank
yep,
badges.
yep.
They've got big ones. And I'm like, that's not right. Oh.
Well, now you might have ruined that for me because I'm gonna watch it now and be like, those are
You watch
shoulder
it.
tabs. Like,
I'm sorry
son
about
of a
that,
bitch.
and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I know.
And so when I, and so along those lines is why I'm probably so anal retentive when it comes to getting details.
No, I can appreciate it. I can appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, you've got the same speakers as me.
I noticed that like the second thing, I was like, hey, he's got good taste in speakers.
It's like, hey man, it's got THX written on them. That makes all the difference.
No, that may have been an intoxicated Amazon purchase. Like, yes, I need surround sound in my office. Hard yes, order. And then what did I order?
I rate that 100%, dude. That's awesome.
They're good. I don't regret it. It's just one of those like, ooh, I
had to buy a new sound card. So because the sound card I had on the computer only had bloody line out, line in, and mic, and I was just like, what? I had to go. I had to buy a Sound Blaster order sheet, and it was like because I think most cards are quite on board now. A lot of sound cards are on board sound cards. So I had to get a proper. And luckily, someplace in I think it was like Singapore, they were still selling these. They're still selling these creative Sound Blaster cards.
Hell yeah!
Because on it, it's got like copyright 2012, and I'm like, wow, that's like almost like it's new.
Well, what's fucked up? I'm sorry. What's screwed up is that like you think 2012, like that was just a couple years.
I know, right? It's terrible. It's terrible. The whole year it's like, hey, remember when we thought the world was going to end because the Mayans said so?
Yeah. Remember that?
2012.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's oh, by the way, one thing you find out about Australians and New Zealanders is that we're extraordinarily crass with our word. We swear a lot. We're very.
I'll throw an F-bomb.
We swear a hell of a lot.
I'm not gonna. Is it I at some point I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and there's gonna be that little box that says, "Is this made for children?" And I'm gonna be like, nope. This is
none of mine ever say that it no. Hell no.
Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're human.
I suppose if you're monetizing though, then it becomes an issue because like I think you get missed. Yeah. By the way, you should do I don't know. You should so do a Patreon, dude. I would be in there.
I'm trust me, because then you start doing it for money. Because then it's not for the money, but like then people send you money, and now you're like they've paid me for this, so now I must continue. So now it's a trade, and then that sounds like work, and then like I don't do this for like I don't want to.
Fair enough. I suppose I suppose. Whereas I mean I suppose I don't feel like because with my Patreon I don't feel bad because I know that I'm obsessed.
So that's actually I have this down. Okay, we can cover this one. So what are your thoughts on monetization, and how much money out of pocket do you have into your channel? So I mean, what would you say you've dedicated to just make? I mean, if you care to it's or whatever.
Sure. So any funds that come from patrons for me will go strictly into things like do I need a new external drive? Do I need to pay for like I'll use things like production crate, things that help make the show
subscription service stuff and all that.
And so
like probably like the voice AI stuff and all that.
Voice AI, things like that. So everything goes into things like that just to like keep it sort of not make it such a hit on the pocket.
Sure.
For me, and I mean it's just it's also just for me as well, just seeing that people want to actually part with their money that they've earned to support something I'm doing is fucking very humbling. Very, very humbling.
It is, and it's it hits the same for me that like when I've gotten many of those comments, especially kind of when I was first starting to like peak, that it was like, did you get a Patreon? Like get it, like I would. It's like I appreciate the thing, and it is very me this guy. All right.
I can understand. I mean, I can understand that just sort of the like preferring to keep it altruistic so that it's something that is more like, here's me sort of just
it does more for
that,
me as yes, this expressive escape, and it's a medium I
yeah,
can learn something on.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Whereas I suppose like something I'm like the sort of the way I'm looking at what I'm doing is like I want to keep doing this.
Yeah,
I would love to do this all the time.
you've got you've got a vision that you would like
Yeah,
to continue
yeah.
on with. Yes.
And so because if I have to stop working on this to spend a week doing some explainer video for an accounting firm, it's like that sucks because that's a whole week lost. Like I mean, okay, yeah, it pays the bills, keeps the lights on, keeps everything running, but it's like if you can amalgamate those two things where that is done by what you're doing, then that for me is like, well, that's what I want to do because I'm rather obsessive in regards to creative stuff.
Yeah.
It's always swirling around in my brain. So it's like, well, I know me, and I know that I'm not going to like anything I ever would do just for money. I would have no passion on. Like I would, and I would actually want to get away from just because every time I've ever done anything for money, I've never enjoyed it. I've just been like that. Like I'll choose if I choose to do something, I'll do it. And it's not for money. I'll enjoy it because I know I've chosen it because of the reasons of I love this, I'm passionate about this. So because it's something I was already doing before I even thought about Patreon, I know that it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So no, your answers are like perfect. That's it. Yeah.
You passed
much
the test,
much
sir.
respect. Yes, out of that. So what? So you've done the video production stuff. So that was I mean that, and you've done some of the animations.
Yeah.
So doing what you do, what have you developed a skill you didn't expect to learn, or do you wish you had another skill?
I wish I would. Yes, the skill I wished I did have was more in the coding side of things, like or scripting. In regards to animation, I mean, if you can write scripts, you can make life a lot easier for yourself. But because I'm more of a visual person, for me, I'll probably spend more time creating something. Um, like for example, if you had a script that put I don't know 50 holes in a flat plane in a virtual space,
Sure.
because that's what you need, right? Whereas I'm quite happy to do that visually and manually because then I know that
you're good with mousing over, copy, paste, shift, mouse, copy, paste, shift.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 50 in that. All right.
Sure. But if I was able to give myself another skill, it would definitely be scripting, just so I could probably speed up um, the creation of things, the modeling of things.
Yeah.
Even if you could just script a walk cycle for a character, just to be able to do that on the drop of a button, drop of a hat, or just push a button and it happen. That would certainly, that would be a nice skill to have. Things I've learned that I haven't expected to learn would be impersonating notable historic people because voice AI, as you know, it takes your performance. Sorry, voice AI. This is the one that records you.
Yeah, you have to speak into it, and then it interprets that.
But you have you have to deliver the performance.
Yes.
And it will then try and make the voice sound a bit like a historical.
I'm glad I found. I'm going to make the comment about voice AI. I'm glad I found the hack to be able to speak a different language.
Oh, really? Okay.
You.
I don't know that. I do not know of this hack.
Okay, so if you take because you got a boom mic and you have the same speakers I do, so if you go into Google Translate, you can type whatever you want in, and then you're going to get how do I pronounce that? Go to a little speaker and Google Translate will say something in a different language, right? But it's that very monotone, like da 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 da. You click it again, it'll say it a little slower. Voice AI will pick that up and I don't speak the language, so I don't know how computerized it sounds, but
Yeah.
it will translate that to that voice you have selected.
Wow. That's
So
pretty cool.
worth checking out because otherwise I've done a couple things just on my own where I'm
Yeah.
shouting into the microphone in languages that I'm not sure I'm saying right. I'm just imitating what Google just maybe said it was pronounced like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you know how that is because like if you don't have your tone just right, if you don't have something
Mm,
just right, like
mm,
you got to get into it. So I've spent like a day
yeah.
getting
What worries me about that? What worries me about that? I think for the majority of the audience, that would work perfectly without the
right.
H. But someone who might be native to that language would be like, "This doesn't sound right at all."
Fuck was that? Yeah.
And if you've ever watched,
And we would be none the why, we would be like, yeah, it sounds
oh, we
good.
would, yeah,
It's whatever. And they'd be like
we would,
offended, like, what is
yeah, yeah.
this idiot
If you've
thing?
ever watched any Godzilla movie that was made in Japan, whenever they have, I love it.
When it's
I
the
love it.
English dubbed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
There's a movie called
Good.
Godzilla, The Return of Godzilla. It's done in '84, and there's a scene where they have the Soviet and the American ambassadors talking to the Japanese Prime Minister, and all the American ambassador does is, "You must let us use nuclear weapons." And it was just, and he just, there was no, like, he didn't explain why. He didn't say like, well, like only we're convinced that only nuclear weapons can destroy Godzilla. It's like didn't go into any reason why they thought that or what, no evidence to back it up. But it was just and every time he said nuclear weapons, he really just burst it out. It was like, and it was just like I was just watching it going, what the fuck is this? It's like, if this ambassador came to me, I'd like kick him out. Yeah, like I wouldn't just kick him out of the room. I'd be like, go back to America. Give me a new ambassador, please.
Well, see, I'm from America, and that's exactly how we are. We must use like I don't know. I don't see the problem, man.
Oh, come on. I'm just like this like obviously whoever's did the production is not a like we're lucky if they're hitting up on ESOL, like it's not going to be their first language.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it would be the
equivalent, right?
Roles reversed for yeah. I was thinking it could be quite helpful for like if you're doing Russian people or Russian soldiers speaking.
Yeah.
What I actually want to do, and this sort of goes back to what I was talking about with distinguishing Ukrainians from Russians, is I actually want to talk to some Ukrainian English-speaking actors, and I'm going to do that. I've done a whole lot of I've researched contacts and things. So while I'm not at that point yet in the production, when I get there, I want to get in touch with them and sort of see if anyone's interested or whatever.
Sure.
But it would be wonderful to sort of have that input, especially around linguistics and things like
yeah, because that can be a very sensitive subject.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And Godspeed with that on the internet because you could really offend people really quick.
I'll just say, consider everything I say as if it's offensive. I didn't mean it to be.
Yeah.
I'm just an idiot. Like if you go with that logic, we can't go wrong.
Oh man, what a great that might be the disclaimer that might go on that like everyone's like, oh, these are the opinions or whatever, or there's
yeah.
We're just idiots.
Yeah.
Oh,
everyone wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting when I get to that point. Not quite there yet.
Well, we touched on voice AI a bit, but have you checked out like 11 Labs or have you dabbled?
You showed me. You showed me 11 Labs, and I immediately fell in love with it. It was so cool how you can type one thing and get it to do it, but you can also mess around with the type of way it deciphers the words, and you can pick out
emotion
the best
of some of
it.
or you can
Yeah, but it's almost like picking out takes that an actor's done for you because you get it to do it maybe 5 times. Every time you get it to do it will do it in a different way. It'll put a different inflection on some words
Yeah.
or others. Even if you keep the same whatever they call it, the same
Voice
way
model?
that it deciphers the words,
Yeah.
it will still do it differently each time, just slightly. And so it's like a voice actor giving you takes.
Yeah.
I think the only drawbacks would be if you really needed it to like yell, scream, and be really emotional. I'm not sure.
Or
If it could manage
sometimes
that or
like
not.
city names that might not be English. Like an English native city name is it.
What is it like? Scream though.
Struggle.
It's like, hey guys, are you going to?
I mean, or certain towns or villages or oil
Yeah.
refineries that are in Russia that it just nope. I don't know what that was, but it just spit out something, and we're not even. I'm just gonna gloss over trying to do any of that. Yep. Yep.
All
That was
right,
a good.
I have to try that. I want to hear what it says.
Oh. So apart from then, have you dabbled into any of the other like image generation or
One thing that I found super helpful is just the resolution and enlargement, especially for textures. Oh my gosh, such an absolute godsend. Is
so
things,
so
things
you're
like
you're you're talking about like AI image enhancement,
AI. Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
AI enlargement. Yeah,
or
so I've
what they
not done
call
any.
AI, but like a smart enhancement going from whatever K to bigger.
Yeah, yeah, like if I'm doing a close up of a character, but let's say the best texture I've been able to get will generate for the face might only be 2000 or 4K. And so while that might seem like a lot, you get right in on a face, you're going to start seeing the resolution,
Come through, right.
yeah. However,
I
throw it
never thought
into,
about that. Yeah,
yeah, throw it into,
go upscale and it'll.
yeah, and bump it up to 16K and it's perfect. So that has been
I
the
never
best
would
thing in
have
the
thought
world.
of something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like just making textures real high def on 3D models. Um, the upscaling has just been magnificent. In terms of image generation, one thing I actually have done in the latest scene is a there's a scene where we're in the cabinet room of the New Zealand government, and of course, every government office or whatnot would have a portrait of the Queen, um, Queen Elizabeth II.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and now, at the time of 1989, she certainly didn't look like she did, and she still had some brown hair. So yeah,
Yeah.
so while I was able to find pictures of her, the actual portraits that may have been used,
Yeah.
one rule I sort of stand by is that you can never level up quality wise on things like what a character might watch on television, or what a picture, or a picture they see. So if your characters are 3D animated, then the best you can do is 3D animated on TV they see, or 2D. It can't go real life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
You're like
that's
breaking the fourth
the
wall
whole
right
thing.
there. Right.
Yeah, and I've noticed a lot of movies and programs and games have done that, and I thought it's breaking the whole thing. You're creating this whole environment where it's 3D animation. So how can they be watching a TV show that's live action?
Got a
Just
live
doesn't
action
work in my head.
character, and you're here
Yeah.
we are taking a step back from the world, and now you're just pixels.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. So one thing I was able to do was I thought, well, I could model a whole model. I could do a whole 3D character model of the Queen Elizabeth II based on this photo, which would take a lot of time and would literally only be for a still image. Or I could take the photo and throw it into an AI program to sort of generate me out a more sort of an image that doesn't look like a real life image, like not cartoon, but sort of that
Can you-
that uncanny valley sort of. And it did. It did not. So
Interpret this picture like it's from a 2000s cartoon.
Yeah, like Starship Troopers Roughnecks level quality,
Yeah.
like, and so it actually did that, and so that was that's the one time I've used AI generative image,
Sure.
and it's worked really well.
Again, a second crafty way. You wouldn't think to use something like that. All right. So have you? Here we go. Have you run into anything in your creative process you were not able to do, or have you run into any limitations? Something you weren't able to complete, or something you weren't able to like. Okay, I really wanted to do, but
Yeah,
just don't have.
no, I've been able to do everything I want. It's just been a case of finding workarounds, finding ways, or
Get
cheats,
creative.
or
Yeah.
just like if like I don't know, like trying to think of an example. Well, okay, for example, just explosions, right? Um, an explosion happening somewhere on the screen, right?
Yeah.
And okay, do you go and generate a 3D explosion with voxels and you have to run that simulation. First off, you have to set up that simulation, then you've got to run it. You got to make sure it's all correct for the environment that it's happening in. The render time on that would be colossal, just because it's taking so many things into account. Or do you get a pre-done explosion that someone else has done, like on Production Crate, for example, and then just get a flat card, have that explosion occur on that card, and just place that card like a sprite,
Yeah.
somewhere in the scene, and then just cheat the lighting so that it lights up, and that's a workaround that I've done a lot of. I've done a lot of times, and it's certainly it's allowed me to do something that I probably would have given up on had I been trying to do it all 3D, and it just would take far too.
Yeah.
So yeah, just workarounds, but you've definitely been able to do everything. I haven't. I'm a stubborn prick as well. So like if I run up against something that I want to do, I won't not do it. I'll be determined to do it, and I'll just figure out a way. If it means like rendering the foreground differently to the background, because I don't know, the system can't handle everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just finding ways to make it work.
Gotcha. Fair. Smart. And it's all worked out too. I will say, like, nothing's looked out of place. Nothing's looked like that worked, and then like, oh god, what was that? Like, no, it's all mashed. Like, it's all.
Cheers, dude. I'll watch what I've done a lot of times. I'll be like,
Oh, and you're probably just like me that you can't really watch it. You don't see what everyone else sees. You analyze it, and you just pick out. Ooh, there's that part. It's coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's that right.
yeah, that's true. You can't enjoy it like a viewer would.
Yeah.
You just sit there, evaluating.
Oh, we're down. Okay, last couple questions then.
Hmm.
Or this one's just going to be a weird critique since we're talking about your stuff. Have you thought about combining all of your seasons into like a movie, or like all of the episodes out of a season, and just kind of like, let's just season one, kind of the movie?
Definitely, and I think when all the episodes of the first season are done, that's probably something I'll do. I definitely want to redo the first.
Talking about the
I
first,
think after I've done that, then I'll probably do a super.
like you were saying, it's all going to be able to. Characters are all going to match a little better. In your,
yeah. There's not going to be this weird. Oh, we swapped actors, and
Yeah.
in the middle of the film.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely something I'll do. So, and I mean, I think the runtime will be something like. I mean, it might even be something like an hour and a half, something like that. It's getting up there.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, every episode it sort of varies. I think the longest one's about 15 minutes, and the shortest one's about 5. So,
And that's about the average. Like, I'm not going to say attention span, but like that's about the right amount of time, probably.
yeah. I've probably broken them up more just so that it's not such a massive weight. for people between episodes. But then also the other added value is it's not, as you say, overdoing it when
Yeah.
it comes to attention spans and things. Yeah, keeping them more bite size.
Yes. You talked about I mean you've covered a lot of these like the last couple questions here. You know, who do you?
Mm.
Well, actually, no, I might have talked about that, but out of curiosity, who on YouTube do you follow? Especially, I mean, like outside of maybe the stuff we're into, or like more our niche.
Sure.
Do you have any shout outs to something on YouTube that you're like, oh, I can't wait for one of those to come out?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to think what do I follow. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. Oh, I tell you what, I follow. I follow a lot of playthroughs of old MS DOS games. I love them. Absolutely love them.
And that's probably
Like,
perfect because God willing, you don't want to like try and actually get one of those to work on your computer, or like
no,
run
I know.
something in this and like, oh God, how did I? Oh God, you know, or like
Yeah,
running an emulator on like an old like NES game or something. And you're like, it works sometimes. I don't
yeah,
know. You just no, I can
I
enjoy
know,
it from here.
I
Like,
know.
oh yeah, that's yeah,
I just love watching. I mean, I guess it's because it's sort of like I remember this from when I was little.
yeah.
It's
I
always
can't
a nice feeling.
somebody had done the F117A something that was an
Yeah.
old DOS game that I was like I used to play that.
Oh, I think
I
there's a
used to
channel called
play that.
Damn Son.
Yeah,
He does a
might have been.
lot of those. Yeah,
Might have been. And it looks like he looks like he's in VR and he just goes over to he
that's
almost
Damn Son. Yeah, he's
yes.
done a whole VR room
Yes.
of
Yeah. And that was
like
that
it's like the night.
that hit
Let's
nostalgia.
chill in 1993,
Yeah.
and it's so cool. That is awesome. I love that. That is so cool.
God, and that hit weird because it was like I used to play oh, it's old. Like
Oh, I know, I know. I've just accepted it.
not there.
It's like
We're getting
I
there,
think it's
but
I know it's when you start not getting the like little like what is it like joke words and stuff, and it's like, oh, what doesn't anyone say amaze balls anymore? That's about as modern as
oh,
I got.
I'm the only one here that says that. Okay, I didn't just identify my age a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, I know, I know. It's unavoidable, man. Just embrace it. But also, I one thing I do like is I know that I am certainly, uh, well, my wife would agree 100%, very immature for my like. I think I stopped developing like here
Yeah.
in my probably early 20s,
Um. Yeah.
and so I'm like, well, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Like yeah, right around the time your frontal lobe is fully developed is probably when you
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
stop maturing.
yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
just no, we're here. This is all you get, and
yeah.
I'm just gonna continue the rest of my
Well, I read
continue on
probably
my
if you
journey.
keep developing, you'd look like the aliens from like that very first episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
They've got massive heads. Yeah, no. So certainly. I mean, I just think, well, yeah, I'm still literally like a 23-year-old up here, so it works for me.
It
For me,
seems like it
works.
works.
I'm
It
happy.
seems like it works.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You've pretty much covered all the questions I wanted to cover in a decent
Mm,
format and time period. So I'm just going to go on to the last one then. When we'll
yeah.
wrap this up with just this. Do you have some life advice then you're willing to depart with?
Um, I think it would, if anything, it would be definitely don't take yourself too seriously because if you don't, it's a good way to have a thicker skin because there's a lot of trolls out there that'll. And I was just talking about this actually recently with my wife and my daughter. It was just like if you don't take yourself too seriously, then it's a lot easier to have a thicker skin and to also laugh at yourself. And so if some trolls coming at you with trying to rip you down,
Yeah.
like if you're able to see the funny side of what they're saying, it kind of takes all the air out of their sails.
Yeah.
And So that would be it. Yeah, just so as long as you don't take yourself too seriously, roll with the punches.
Stay humble.
It's that,
Don't take yourself too serious. Okay,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
like it. Yeah,
Yeah. That would be the best thing I can think of. But yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
dig it. I
I
dig
mean,
it.
it's like people like me and you and a lot of other channel creators, just like we're just doing what we're doing, we're enjoying ourselves, and we're sharing what we do with other people if they're interested in it.
Yeah.
And like clearly, like I always say to anyone, like if anyone's like, "Oh, the quality's terrible," I'm like, "Well, I'm not quite Hollywood," and it's
I
like,
love those comments. Yes, I love those comments. And it's like
yeah.
total
It's like,
amateur attempt at this, and it was like, man, I never claimed to be a professional. In fact, I'm
I know,
further from it than yeah.
but it's like, but sometimes I can look at what I've done and have a laugh at it,
Yeah.
like almost alongside them trolling me. I'm like, yeah, that does look silly, and it's like if you,
What a great way to yeah.
yeah, and a couple of times I've almost joked alongside them, and they don't know what to do. So
Terrible.
it'll come back to not taking yourself too seriously. It's like, you know, oh, I said, someone was like, oh man, this looks like it's from like 2005. I said, yes, it came out with a PS1. It was an exclusive.
Yeah.
It's like-
Oh, shit, really? Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, it's just have a laugh, and it just works better.
Well,
yeah. So that's all I got, man.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
nothing
awesome.
more, nothing more profound.
I can appreciate what you do. I think a lot of other people appreciate what you do, and a lot more people will appreciate what you do if you
Thanks,
keep
man.
track on that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, thanks. I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, I mean, obviously, right back at you, dude. I mean, it's just a great. It's just a great. I think it's really good to do what we do, because if anything, if someone watches that and thinks, when was this? What does this cover? And
Oh,
they
sure.
learn about, anyone that learns about history is enriching the way they think about the present. Like it's decision making and things like that. It's all been done before.
Yeah.
The choices that are being made from countries and such. So all this sort of stuff's happened in the past, and so learning about history is such a good way to sort of educate yourself on what might be a good, just a better worldview, I find.
Yeah. Or the alternate history that we
Well, the alternate
tend to
history,
create.
yeah, I know, but it's like if even someone takes that and then learns about the Cold War and how close
Oh,
it
yeah.
came to things, and the motives that drove decisions that were made, and then they look at what's going on today, they can. It's a good way to see through the bullshit and see
Yeah.
why people,
Or yeah, right,
yeah,
exactly. See the bigger picture and what actually might be going
exactly.
on.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's like if
that's a
that
whole
happens,
other
then that
lesson you can
happens.
get into. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good what we do.